Now you think it's funny. Now you wanna spend your money on girls, but you forgot when you were down. I was around. Call my lover, Hank, call again. What in the world is happening? Listening, but don't yell at me. Isn't it ironic? All you wanna do is smoke chronic. Love, but you forgot when you were down. I was around. I can't eat, I can't sleep anymore. Waiting for love to walk through the door. I wish I didn't miss you anymore. Memories don't live like people do. Set forever, me and you. I wish you'd bring back the man I knew that was good to me. Every time you say you're coming, boy, you disappoint me, honey. How you forgot when you were down that I was around. I can't eat, I can't sleep anymore. Waiting for love to walk through the door. I wish I didn't miss you anymore. Miss One of these days is gonna happen to you. Missing the love like I'm missing you. Oh, yeah. Oh. One of these days when your dreams come true, that's the one that's gonna do it to you. Oh, yeah. I can't eat, I can't sleep anymore. Waiting for love to walk through the door. I wish I didn't miss you anymore. Oh, I can't sleep anymore. Waiting for love to walk through the door. I wish I didn't miss you anymore. Oh,
Sing it, Angie. Yo, good evening, people. What's going on? Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Cosplay.
I should have muted that. Okay. There we go. That should be good there. Can we get a little fancy today? Bring out the fancy piano now. But always go and like pull always use the piano tech, right? And I like it. It's not a bad sounding piano, you know, just I have other pianos, you know. But there's more than just pianos in there too. I would like to also stress that. So piano tech is pretty good. You do get quite a few, well, I won't say quite a few, but you do get a few instruments in there. Some of them are interesting, all right? That's kind of why that's why I keep it around. All right. But it is easier to load, right? Easier on the resources. So, it'll load up faster and then we can go. But you got parameters here, you got presets here. So, right? So it can get they get interesting. So you can see like where it'll actually start to. I guess I gotta slow down, right? But eventually it does change, and you get a different picture here. But these are like all of the. I should have went backwards. That probably would have made more sense there. But these are all the pianos, and somewhere down the line here, you start getting into some of the other pianos. Uh, okay, maybe I don't know this as well as I thought I did. Here, let's see. Let's move this. Uh, usually I could just here. See, we could scroll. Oh, here's all the instruments here. So you have. Let's say we go. Okay, I guess there's nothing there. No, no, no. What did they do? Like run away? Oh, the bank's factory. I don't know. This stuff is. It's got me now. I don't know what I'm doing. Any help? But yeah, there were some other sounds and stuff in here that you could get to, and I've used them as well. I just don't know why they don't show themselves all of a sudden, but it's okay. That's okay. But today, I do want to go in here just because I have stuff like um, Alicia's Keys here. Of course, I have like Noir and Maverick and some other pianos, and they all kind of have their interesting, kind of distinct sound to it, even though it's a piano at the end of the day, right? Um, but they have a different like feeling, so it works. They kind of work for like different moods, if you will. Did I not double click? Oh, I did. Okay, we're just waiting for it. Yo, King B in the building. Appreciate you stopping by, man. How you doing this evening? There we go. All right. Like that, right? So, we can get up to here, and of course we are. I gotta remake this template and resave it so that it includes my limiter, which it looks like I've taken out prior to it. So we could start with okay, right? Our C major scale. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Those are our chords, and you can kind of start moving around, right? We talked about that a little bit, making use of the Roman numerals, okay, for chord progressions. That's a 1, 5, 6, 4, right? Ta-da! Back to 1. So that's all cool. Now we can further make these chords sound a little more full by adding our 4th note, which we're going to call our 7th. So there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is a C major 7. It's your D minor 7. It's your E minor 7. It's your F major 7. This is your G dominant or G7. This is your A minor 7. And this is your, I believe it's a B diminished or half diminished. Alright. and with the seventh. All right, so those are our chords, right, in sevenths. So now, as we're kind of like playing stuff, it sounds a little bit nicer, right? But you may not play it like this, right? So you may kind of change up how things are played, right? But yeah, by using four, it starts to get interesting. I would say like four or more, but right when you get to four, it just gets but a cool little thing that I learned the other day. All right, you got to do this in a major scale, so it doesn't matter what major key that you're in, right? As long as it's that major scale formula, all right? You can play your one, you come back to the seven, but we're gonna create a dominant, which is actually gonna take us out of the key of C major, right? Because these notes don't exist in C major, all right? So nice. So from our one to our seven, or at least we create that dominant, right? So it'd be more like as you can say, that's a five since it's a dominant. It's a five of another key, and then we go to our three, and then we do our 2, 5, 1, right? So kind of taking some of the stuff that I learned with jazz. Okay, I'm still teaching myself, and we do our 2, 5, 1, and then we have our warm-ups. So we go through like all the different keys. Okay, those are 2, 5, 1s, 2, 5, 1. Okay, switch 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5. Did I mess it up? Right? So by using that, it kind of helps us get back to the one, so it's not as plain, right? That's kind of boring, right? So do the one, we come to our seven. Okay, look, this is our seven chord in C major. Like that's diatonic. We take these two notes here, we're gonna shift them up half step. Okay, that way you can perform this no matter what key. When you get to the seventh, take your 3, your 5, shift them up a half step. Okay, bam. So okay, and then 2, 5, 1. It's dope, ain't it? It's dope. I was like, what? Because I would have never thought of that. See, that just doesn't work. You're like, excuse me? What? But you turn that into a dominant. And it's perfect. It's a perfect, or I would say it's a common, right, or popular R&B chord progression. There you go. So even if you wanted to right, so this would be our 1. This would be our 7. What is it here? This would be our 3. All right, and then we'd have our 2. Trying to remember this here. Our 2, our 5, and then back to our 1, right? So we do this, then we're gonna go here, right? And so what do we have to do? Take our 3, take our 5, shift it up half step, right? Nice. So we can come here. Nice. And then to our 3. So I hit something wrong. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. I hit something wrong, but we're not gonna talk about it. Shh. All right. It should be that. Maybe it was just me and the way I was playing. I didn't hit a key down. It started sounding weird. All right. And then our 2. So actually, we would be here. You know what? I'm butchering this. I'm about to say forget it. Because my finger is down here. So that's our 2, 5, and then back to our 1, right? So you can still do this, and as you can see, I'm not exactly comfortable on this key, but just to show you that that still works, then you can, okay, over, bam, and then, oops. Again, we're in the wrong thing. There, right? You probably wouldn't play up that high. You probably want to drag that down to where it's a bit lower, right? You know what? One that I am comfortable with. F major, all right? So we can do that. We'll play our 1. And then when we go to play our 7, we know we take our 3, our 5, we shift them up half steps, so that becomes here, that becomes here. Okay, then we play our 3, which is going to be here. Okay, and then to our 2, 5, 1. Right? So you can take once you understand like the major scale, right? Get it numbered. You can take the Roman numerals, right? And then it doesn't matter whatever you play in one key, it'll work across the board no matter what key you start on, as long as it's in a major scale. Now, if you took that and you try to go into a minor scale, you're gonna get something that sounds probably kind of similar, but completely different, right? Because those chord functions change when you get into minor, right? The 2 is no longer a minor chord, it's that diminished chord, right? The 3 is no longer a minor chord, it's now a major chord, right? Then you have minor, minor, instead of major, minor, minor, major, major, or when you add the 4th, the dominant, minor, and then you're diminished, right? And the reason for that is the minor scale is just the 6th mode from a major scale standpoint, right? So here are your 7 notes, and then each note, basically, if you started from that note and worked all the way back to the same note, following the scale, you would get a different mode, right? So that's your major or your Ionian, that's your 1, right? That's your Dorian, right? Or your 2. That's your Phrygian or your 3, right? That would be your Lydian or 4, right? And each of these modes are used in music. Not as common as doing major or minor, right? But so from that, you have Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, and then when you get to 6, that's Aeolian, right? That's the A minor scale, right? So whenever you're playing in a major key, so let's take our F major scale. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, and I start from here and follow the same pattern as the F minor scale, that's going to give me the minor sound. And this is D minor, by the way, right? Right? So when you're playing in a minor scale, it's only the 6th mode of the major, basically, right? Which is pretty cool once you start getting into it, because you can start to take those modes. We talked about this as well. You can take the formula for a major scale. Google got you, right? And it'll tell you whole step, half step, whole step, half step, right? And so by following that half, whole, half, whole, whole, and then your half, right? That's the formula. So it doesn't matter where you start, that same formula is going to give you a major sound, right? So when you want to do this, or sorry, where are we at? Right? You're like, all right, interesting sound. What do you do with that? Well, if we start on C, right? When we go here to, really, all it is it's a minor scale, but you take the second note, flatten the second note. Right? Same kind of tone to it. And when it starts getting interesting, it sounds you might start to notice when you start doing the chords for each note of the scale, right? Which is every other note, right? Yeah. So you may think, I don't need this, but in actuality, it could help you out, right? And you might be wondering sometimes, where does that come from, right? Well, that comes from the Phrygian scale. So you might, I don't know. So I just took the natural minor scale, and we just played that from 1 to 4, right? And then I went to Phrygian, so we borrowed, right? Stepped outside of the natural minor scale, and we made this, because the only note that's really different is the second note. It's flat. So when we did this, that lets you know we changed modes. We're no longer natural minor, right? But this is in the natural minor, right? Right? Those are all the notes. that's another borrowed. So if you think about it, right, you could. So this comes from the minor, the harmonic minor scale, right? So again, that's your natural minor. What we do, Phrygian, flat to 2, right? Harmonic minor, take your 7th, right? So that's right before we go home, and sharpen it, raise it. So you get right? Or whoops. Right? So we could take that. So you could actually mix a lot of this stuff around and make something really cool and interesting, and you don't have to stay in the one particular scale just because, right? That might not be a good combo like that. And then maybe you can go. Okay, so you can see how we can kind of cross them together and make stuff. All right, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, you can take the formula. Let's see, can we? Could we make this? Let's make it huge. All right, so you have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, that's the major scale, right? And then this is your first W. You will write a 1 under, second W a 2, your third will be a 3, 4, till you get to your 7th, right? Then what you could do, I'm showing you can do this with just memorizing one formula. You can memorize all 7. So let's say you wanted to do Dorian, which starts on the 2nd. Basically, all you have to do is take this first note and move it over to the end. And now, right, you would have your whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And I'm doing that in C and not from D. So it doesn't matter what key I start on. If I follow that formula, I will always get a Dorian sound, right? And then right? Because in our Dorian, which is basically major, but we take the 6th note and we raise it. And that's how you memorize Dorian. So it sounds minor, it starts off that way, and then it gets kind of majory. So it has this like mixed sound to it, but what kind of lets you know that you're in Dorian, right? Because you could just be playing, let's say we do and go to, okay, let's go back. So now remember, you take your 6th note and you raise it, right? So if I play this and I go and do this, well, that doesn't say that we're in Dorian because what makes Dorian is this, right? So if I'm playing, say I'm doing this, and then I play this, well, we're skipping over that six, right? So you can't really tell. You can go, if someone said this was in Dorian, you wouldn't recognize Dorian yet because those same chords are in both the natural minor and they're in Dorian, right? So it's not, you're not able to actually pinpoint that until you were to hear this note being used, and now you go, okay, I know what that sounds like, right? So see, that lets you know it's Dorian, and it has a distinct sound, right? Right? And so once you hear that note being involved in any kind of way, there's a particular sound to it that lets you know, okay, that was, we're in Dorian now, right? Until then, you don't know. Right? And as you play through that scale, right? And kind of hear what that sounds like with the other chords, you'll start to kind of pick it up. There's usually two to like three different chords you'll find that they kind of stand out from the natural minor or the Aeolian scale, right? And so when you get used to hearing those colors, then it doesn't matter what key, what inversion, right? You'll be able to tell, and you go, okay, that's definitely not following the path of the natural minor scale. I can tell that's something different, and so it must be, right? But don't necessarily just outright say it's Dorian just because you heard something different, because again, right? And Phrygian carries a minor sound too. Okay. So you have your Dorian and your Phrygian scales. They're going to be minor. And then, of course, you have your Aeolian, and then you have the harmonic, and then you have the melodic minor scales. So the difference with them is usually just a change in one note, except for the melodic. I think there are two, right? I think both of these get raised, right? And so you have two of those. So you kind of have like a half and half, where it's like half minor and then half major, basically. Um, yeah. So then you have, of course, your Lydian, your Mixolydian, right? And those are pretty much your major sounding, but they will have some minor sound to it as well. But it's going to be mostly a major sound. And then again, you can use this, right? And you can generate it. So you get the formula for a half step. I mean, for a half step. Get the formula for the major scale, right? And then you would number like one, two. This is not straight. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then you would label them Ionian, etc., right? And then depending on the scale that you're wanting to use, so let's say you're going to use again Phrygian, which will be that 3. Then take these two, okay? Take these two whole steps here, and then put them at the end. that is going to create the formula for Phrygian, right? Yeah, just like that. Doesn't take a lot. You're not going, well they said it's a it's a this and a flat this and a this and a this, because when you go to look it up, that's what they want to tell you, right? But simplistically, you can just take the formula for major scale, because the Ionian is 1, that's the major, right? And you could just, that's all it is. So when you see me doing, or anyone going, this is the major, the Ionian, right? And this is the Dorian, right? And they're going and they're showing you from from the point of C major, right? All it is it's that formula, but they're just starting on a different note, and they're just following the scale till they get to the note they started on, right? So basically, you can take the major scale formula, and whatever note you're going to start on, that is your 1, and then whatever notes were behind it, let's say you want to start at the 4, okay, then just move that over, keep the same pattern as if you were going to repeat, right? And then just, they're going to be in a different place, right? But now, that is your Lydian sound, right? So now you have a Lydian scale, right? And then you know how to form chords. Like, this is the basic stuff. If you get the basic stuff down, this will already unlock like 1,000,003 things you can do. And then when you start to kind of get more intermediate, this will unlock 1,000,000 more things you could do, right? And then when you get to the advanced, this will unlock 1,000,000 more things you can do. But be able to create the scale, okay? Get used to the way the scale sounds and the notes that are played, right? Get used to numbering them, get used to the note names, whatever, right? Once you create the scale, then practice the chords, right? Chords. Every other note in the scale. Play. Skip. Play. Skip. Play. Play. Skip. Play. Skip. Play. Right? And you can so on and so on and so on and so on and so on to your back home, right? Doesn't matter any of those scales you choose. Every other note. So wherever you want to start, play, skip, play, skip, play. Okay? It's always going to work like that. All right? When you get comfortable being able to do that, all right, then you say, hey, Google, what are some major chord progressions? All right. Let's see. We have 1, 5, 6, 4, right? The capital Roman numerals indicate that is a major chord. And when we're in our major scale, R1 creates a major chord. R2 creates a minor chord. R3 creates a minor chord. R4 creates a major chord. R5 creates a major chord. R6 creates a minor chord. And R7 creates a diminished chord, right? So if you wanted to, not even looking at this and knowing that, you could say, I want to just play all of the major chords. And what do I get? 1, 4, 5. Instantly got a hit. It's an instant hit. You could say, well, if that works, that sounds good. Well, let's try all of the minor chords, right? That'll be our R2, our 3, and our 6. Right? You could even say, hey, let's mix it up. Let's do 3, 2, 6, right? You don't have to play them in order. Let's do 4, 5, 1. Let's move up here a bit. So that's a 4, 5, 1, right? You could 5, 4, 1, right? You can 2, 6, 3. Okay, you can mix these just using the major chords from that scale and just the minor. We haven't even started mixing them, but you can, and that's why you see some of them are capital, some of them are lowercase, right? Like we know our 6 is minor in a major scale, right? So when we're playing, we can play our 1, play the 5, play the 6, and then play our 4, right? So now that you know how to form the scales, and now that you know it's 1, 2, 3, all the way to 7, because you only have 7 notes in the scale, then the Roman numerals will start making sense, and you can start getting ideas for chord progressions. Now, what you want to do with that after the fact is up to you, because I'm sure you guys have been passing around the famous video of needing the 4-bar progression, all right, and they played about 100 songs, all right, all in this progression, right? But the way you play it also kind of changes things, right? I know I'm going from 1 to 5, so let's see. Could we get this is where things get interesting? So I can look at C, E, G. Then we go to 5, which is going to be G, B, and D. Okay, so the only notes that we have in common here. So if I was going to go from playing 1 to playing 5, okay, I could take this G and say I'm going to play it down here. Okay, instead of here. Okay, so now getting to the 5 is as simple as G, B, D. So, or sorry, I should have went up. Right? Bam. Oh my goodness. Or you could have went from here. And then as you went to go play the F, because F is FAC, and we're playing our A minor, our 6, which is ACE. So the A and the C are the same. The only thing that's different is the E and the F here. But you notice F is just a step up from where we're playing, right? So you could, that gives you a different color, but you don't have to do much reaching, or you don't have to jump, right? Is that a sound that you want, right? If so, then take it. If not, right? And then the only difference when you go back to C, because it's C, E, and G, well, you're already on C, so you just gotta move one finger over, one note each, right? Now you're back to where you started, okay? So some of these things you may have to practice, right? Play and go, okay, from this chord to this chord, what notes are similar and what are not. And then when you find it, you go, okay, what's the easiest way to get from this one to this one, right? So you can play it in root position. It sounds good, and that could be what you want, right? Right? But you could also start to look and see what chords, right? What notes they have associated with one another, and then you may decide to do something like that. Because that is a lot easier to play, right? You don't have to really think about moving one note over. But if I had to go like this and then jump and look at a crowd, all right, I might butcher this. I might butcher this, all right? So, and I might not hit the right one, or I have to look down, and not that that's a bad thing, but if you're always looking down, you're not looking at your sheet music or whatever, right? So being able to put it into perspective where you can just easily kind of do things. I can remember this a whole lot easier, right? And so, hey, you might want to roll with that. That might be a sound that you're looking for because it's the same chord. It contains the same exact notes, right? All we're doing is changing the order of the notes, right? So in the grand scheme of things, it's still C major, C major, C major, C major. Doesn't matter the order. All that matters is the combination of notes. So if I did this, but I don't know, I decided I was gonna play this. This is no longer C major. It doesn't matter that there's a G and an E. There's a B here, so this changes the chord completely, right? This changes that chord completely. And now you'd have to think, all right, what has the notes G, B, and E in it? And that's going to be your E minor. So that goes from being a C major to an E minor, but now you have a inversion of that. But maybe as you're playing, maybe you want that, right? maybe you maybe you want to do something like that, right? But just know, as long as it contains the same notes, doesn't matter the order that it's played in, that's still considered the same, that same chord. The only time it will change, even though we're talking about inversions, that some people will do this. Like, we inverted C major, yes and no. In your right hand, you inverted. But because down here it's still C in the bass, it's still considered C major. Or it's still considered like the root, right? But we changed everything. Now, if I were to, okay, because we have C, E, and G. So if I decided I wanted to play G, now this chord becomes something completely different. Even though this is a C major, technically, and this is found in C major, because G is the first note here, then this becomes a G over C or whatever, right? A C over G. So it starts to kind of change things as you go, but you can get different colors like that as well, right? See, I could do this, and then, but now this changes because of the bass note. And what do we have? A, C, E, G. So it goes from being a C major to an A minor 7. Wait, I'm still playing C major up here. I just changed the bass. I know. That's just how it works. All right. So once you start changing the bass, then things start moving, and it doesn't matter if you invert it here. That's still a C major, and that's still gonna be an A minor 7. It doesn't matter how you do it, right? But sometimes inverting is good because it'll get you a different color, right? So I could do this, right? Great. But I could also do. So now we're just missing this sound. Now we have this sound. Right? So we're missing that higher pitch that we're used to hearing. But that's still, right? Same sound, just the notes going up an octave, right? So I can do that. And now I have to reach. But you see where my thumb is? And then forming that chord, they're already together. Easier for you to reach. So it's a case of get good. Do I react to music? Yes, I do. Do you have music you would like me to listen to? You're actually here at a perfect time where I'm not actually building anything. But it's the more you know, right? The more you know, then the better off you are, right? And certain things, some people will tell you like you don't need to make music, and you don't. Like you don't need music theory, right? You can. I don't think that sounds right. I might roll with that, right? You can pull this out, but it gets to a point where you're gonna hit a wall, right? And somebody's gonna, and you're gonna go, "What did he just do? What did you play? And how did you know that sounded good?" Right? Yeah, that's gonna make you go, "Okay, I want to know how to do this stuff." And then you got to start from the bottom and work your way up. Do you need all of music theory? No, right? But the basics will get you 100 times further than just hearing it because you have no real understanding of the the notes, right, that are being played and why that works, right? Right? You have no understanding how that works, what you're hearing at all, no nothing. So once you go through that, and of course you got to do all your practices and right, right, and you start to hear what that sounds like, right? You'll start to hear what that sounds like, and then it doesn't matter if somebody decided to, all right, go in the F major and do the same motions. Okay, the note you start on is just giving you a different tone, a different color, a different vibe, a different mood, but all the same tricks work. So just because you did, you're going, okay, I know that one, I could do that. You know, and you're going, I could do that, but how did you get that sound? Like, where did that come from, right? Once you understand, as they'll probably always tell you, that it's just math, right? It's just formulas, it's just numbers. Once you understand it's really like that, then it doesn't matter. You'll learn that you can create that from anywhere. You can create it from anywhere, right? And then once you get into it more, you realize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's your octave. And it starts over, right? There are only 12 keys, and then the order that we align these keys are how we're able to create music. So if you hear, you're listening to Spotify, and there's a song you really like, and you're like, that chord progression, I like it. Use it. Use it. You can't copyright chord progressions. I think there's only one chord progression, but it's a super long chord progression, and that's the only one. If you use that, you'll probably get sued, right? But all the rest of this stuff, if you hear it and you want to use it, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? Just don't go and copy that beat, sound for sound. Right? Like, don't go and do that, right? Every note, every sound that was used, right? Because you're supposed to have at least 80% of the composition. That's supposed to be yours, right? Otherwise, you get hit upside the head, all right? Otherwise, you get hit upside the head. So, that's why you can combine 1,000 songs using one progression because it's not illegal to use that stuff, right? Since the beginning of music, there's only been 12 notes, and in some situations, this is a major pentatonic scale. It uses less than the 7 notes, right? So you can it just sounds so good, doesn't it? And a lot of this stuff that people are using, they're just different scales, and it's not illegal for you to do that. There's a major pentatonic, there's a minor pentatonic, right? And then you start realizing certain stuff. So, in a minor scale, your 1, your 4, your 5, and your 6 sound beautiful together no matter what chord's being played. Well, that's a different. There's just certain things, and no matter what, it's always gonna sound good against each other, right? Or sorry, right? This is certain stuff that works, right? And then from there, you can build on. So maybe, say we take our 1, 4, and 6, right? And we decide we're gonna add the 3 and go to our 5. Like at that point, right? At that point, it doesn't matter. But and there's a reason why that stuff works, right? So I said we use our 1, our 4, and our 6, right? But look at that. What is that? It's an F minor chord. That's why it works. We just play it down here. That's a C minor chord. So just play the 4. Just play the 1. Right? Broken chords. Right? Right? That's it. And there's a reason why certain things kind of work. Let's see. At first I was lost, but now it's starting to make sense. I'm glad. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible, And if people have questions, definitely feel free to ask if you are interested. Here, let me see. I think used a similar beat in mine last night. Dropped the follow too. Appreciate the follow. Sorry, nothing pops up on the screen, but I do see it over here in my feed. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good weekend. Do you like underground? I like anything. I think we were talking about this a couple days ago. Some guys sent in some music, and leaning more towards like rocking things. As a producer, try to get into other styles of music. Not to make, just listen, hear what's out there, right? Especially if you make hip hop, right? I was talking to someone about this earlier, right? What is hip hop? When you get to the core of it, right? The music. What was it? If you understand how hip hop came to be, what was it? There were DJs spinning at parties, right? The breaks and what? There were funk songs, soul, like, right? A lot of like dance music and stuff like that, like upbeat, feel good music. But it wasn't hip hop that they were getting this stuff from, that they were spinning or chopping up, right? It's soul, it's all this other stuff, right? So if you're trying to be good at hip hop, then the best thing you can do is expand your music palette, right? Listen to some other stuff. Hip hop artists were making music with rock artists, right? You had Aerosmith, and you had these different things, right? Start listening to them. Start finding out why they were why they were like popular to go to for like sampling and things of that nature, right? And once you start understanding that, once you start listening to stuff like that, you'll start hearing things and you'll be like, okay, I like the way that sounds. Can we get that in here? Could we do something like that? Maybe I like the way that goes, but I want to maybe add more onto it, or I want to do it a little different, right? Bam, you make it your own, but always listen to different things, different music, right? Because a lot of times the progressions that are used, instruments that may be used, sometimes the intros and stuff. Like sometimes there's some really nice. You'll find inspiration in anything, right? But I was telling them of everything that I listen to, because I listen to smooth jazz, I listen to rock, I got playlists. I was showing my playlists, you know. Yep, I do. Um, But yeah, out of all of it, country. It's just I don't have like a hate for it. I just don't have a love for it. Could I put it like that? Right? Like there's nothing that I heard that made me be like, okay, I'll kind of stick with it or follow it. And then sometimes the lyrics, they just and the music itself, like the combination, it gets a little too dark and depressing. While I understand it, I just don't want that in my rotation, right? So I got an uncle that listens to country, and so it's not like I'm like opposed. If I heard it, I'd be like, ah. It's just it's not something I'd be like, oh yeah, you want to talk about country artists? Like I just I just don't. Let's see. Okay, you said do I have Spotify? I do. What would be the name or the song that I'm looking for? So I make underground rap. Okay. So I don't produce beats. So you're just an artist, lyricist. Okay. Lights is my name. I don't think country music is basic so much as it's definitely an older form, but it's the storytelling, right? They it's if done right, it can tell a really good story, right? It can talk about a really um it can kind of paint a picture of a tragic moment, but also kind of have a lesson in there for you. A lot of which you're not. getting anymore in music, in like newer music. A lot of the message is being gone. Like maybe you don't catch it the first time, but after the second, third time you listen to it, it starts becoming more apparent. You're like, okay, I get what this person's trying to say. Nowadays, I don't know. Like the hooks are so broad, you don't really right. The verses are just so scattered. Two bars is about this, and then another two bars about this, and then maybe four bars here. And then it's just a bunch of jumping, skipping, and there's no way to really connect that together, right? Whereas older hip hop music, you would listen, and they like to take you through the whole story, right? And they like to paint the picture of where they are, what was going on around them, and so that verse might tell one story, and then the second verse might shift to another story, but it's usually complete, right? Now it's just like, can you make punchlines or, whatever. So while that's cool, it's like you kind of lose the consistency, right? And lose the message just trying to show that you can create punchlines or something like that. And so it doesn't the story, right? I could see if the story went together, but there were metaphors and similes, quote unquote punches, right, going through there, and so that's another thing. It's like, okay, I heard so and so, this is all he's doing, so I'm gonna do it. But you ain't got no writing skills. Did you ever take a poetry class or a writing class? Like, do you know how this is supposed to be structured? No. Okay, we get it. You can rap cat, hat, bat, flat. All right, we got you. But can you put that in structure in a way where you give us a story or can paint a really good picture, and by the time your 16 is done, I got a good idea of what you're getting at. No. No. It's like glimpse. You're just getting like flash picture, flash picture, flash picture. Two bars here, he was home. All of a sudden, dude popped up in the club. All of a sudden, dude's in the plane at noon, but the club was at night. Wait, what? And then the next thing, like, and it's shifting, changing, shifting, and stuff gets lost. Let's see. Lights with a Z. Would this happen to be you here? Make sure. Said something to listen to, not to really relate to unless you're having fun. No worries. Said no scroll down, black and white profile picture. This one? Okay. All right. Anyone in particular? Matching fits. All right, here we go. I don't know if you guys can hear that pretty well. Volume's all the way up. I see green light, I go. I link with a business ghost. I don't do well with hoes. But I just want a bit of rose. She got my face on a poster. Post up with your bitch. We got matching fits on. We got matching fits on. We got matching fits on. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. All right, I will say this. From a audio engineer standpoint, it's hard to kind of make out your voice when like the kick and the bass are hitting. Um, so basically in that low end, it's a little too much mud there. I don't know if you're mixing this yourself, if you don't, you know, whatever the case may be. But I hear that, and it's kind of like drowning you out as you're speaking.
They wanna look at me now. They wanna look at me now. Look at me in 2 months. I just spent too much. A million jeans clutch. They wanna jump the gun. What am I running? What am I doing? What I want? They won't even do nothing. They won't even do nothing. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Hopping in a bin, I go. Make me a couple bands, but I need me some more. If I see green light, I go. I link with a bit, then go. I don't do well with hoes, but I just bought a bit of rose. She got my face on a poster. Post it up with your bitch. We got matching fits on. We got matching fits on. We got matching fits on. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now.
So a decent sound. Again, it's just more the mixing of it for me. And then I don't know if it sounds like there's some reverb in there on your vocals, and I can tell that that's kind of down in the lower ranges of your voice, and you would want to take that out, or have whoever is applying those effects for you to draw those out, so that you have how could I put it, the reverb in the lower end of things kind of tends to kind of like soften bass, right? Not only that, it could get it to sound kind of muddy, right? And it doesn't have like that same impact. So a lot of times we like to drag the reverb out of those lower ranges and then kind of keep it more towards like the what am I trying to say? The high mids and the highs, right? But take them out of the bass, take it out of the lows. So if it's you who's applying the reverb, take the low cut or the high pass on it and maybe drag it up to about 700 just to clear that. And then with the beat itself, I don't know where you may have boosted your vocals, but in the beat, create a dip in those spots. Doesn't have to be great, maybe like 2 dB, and that'll help your voice sit on top of that beat, and it'll sound a lot cleaner. Your voice will have a lot more clarity on it. So you want to try hearing a different one? Yeah, we can do another. Back to the basics. Oh, is there more? No, it says show less. I don't see a back to the basics on here. For the albums. Did I pass it? I bet if I passed it. Albums, here we go. Here to stay. Back to the basics here. Alright. I got you. I have Spotify. I don't really use Spotify. YouTube, that's something I've had for over 10 years now, so that's my go-to. Yeah, I like this. I like how the vocals are sitting here.
Let's get back to the basics, the real conversation.
Much better, much better.
I've been pacing. I would never run from my problems, I'ma face them. Every day I wake up, I'm a money maker. I believe in chasing dreams until you finally make it. Hey, the amount of times I've seen somebody switch up on me's crazy. The things I've seen, the things I've been through is the things that made me. But all these things, they can never change me. And all my fears, I don't face them, my fears come and face me. Let's get back to the basics, the real conversation. How they been hating, cause I don't even know it. But I pull up and I'm gonna show it. Keep my head up, every time things get tough, I just keep on going.
Nice. That was well done. I like that. Again, as far as your song title, the way your hook went, and the way your verses went, right? Consistency. Bam. Not that hard, people, right? As an MC, you are a storyteller, right? And your job is to be able to hold a crowd, right? And be able to tell the story. That's the difference between being a great MC and a not so great MC, right? The way you tell it, the flash, the pizzazz, that's one thing, right? There's definitely levels to it, but can you stay on the topic, right? Can you stay on the topic? Most people aren't. And while I understand freestyling, as someone who was an artist myself and went through, doing poetry even back in like 4th grade up until I got into high school and switching over, right? As somebody who's been there, right? It doesn't have to be all flashy. Those are nice little techniques that we use, right? Creating those quote unquote punches, which are just metaphors and similes, all right? Creating that stuff, right? It's a different level when it comes to writing. But does your writing have to have metaphors and similes in it to get your point across? No, right? But what a lot of people are doing is they'll title their song something, and then there's maybe a few lines that actually connect with the song, that might actually connect with the hook, right? And then the rest of it's scattered, and you're like, but where you going? Like, come back. It's like someone telling you, oh yeah, the other day I was walking with my friend, we were going down the street, right? And we seen this guy, but hold on, I got to tell you about this before that because it connects to this, right? So let me go back here. Like, you start getting off track, you start swinging away, and you don't stay focused on the thing. Like, complete that, and then if you want to go and say, okay, now let me tell you what kind of led up to this or whatever, right? Then go back and then fill that in, right? But when you start stopping here, then here, and then okay, but okay, let me get back. I'm getting on that. I'll get to that in a second. And then you're doing that, and you're like constantly switching out. You lose people like that. Lyrically, you will lose people, right? So. And he comes back to it too. Like, even if you were like, he's straight off, the hook is literally saying, let's go back to the basics. Like, he's got this. All right, he's got this. So yeah, I like that, man. I like it. The one thing school taught me how to do was storytell. And that's the thing, man. And that's a skill in itself, to sit there and tell a story. And not just tell a story, right? A cappella. It was a dark and stormy night, right? To actually tell the story, be in sync with a rhythm that is going on behind you, right? Is playing with you to tell a story to the rhythm, and then add that extra layer, make it rhyme, right? That's a whole nother thing. That act in itself, especially if you didn't write it beforehand, right? That is a feat in itself, right? And that's why back then rappers would walk around with dictionaries and thesauruses, right? And they were looking at other words that they could say and things like that. And everyone was trying to, and increase their vocabulary. They knew what the words meant. They weren't just saying it, just because it rhymed. They they knew how to do that, right? They had the writing skills. That's kind of what I'm getting at, right? We're kind of in a time now where you just hear somebody say something or do something, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go do that, right? And okay, anybody can do that, but the good ones, they're a master at their craft, at their skill. So it's not just about, oh, he said he was gonna fold him up like last year's. That doesn't matter, right? People focus on that, but that doesn't matter. What even made it that interesting was he was able to keep you engaged with the whole thing up until that point. you know, that in itself is a skill to be able to tell a story in rhythm, make it rhyme, and still and give you a visual at the same time, right? And using metaphors and similes to let you know how good they are, or how bad this person sucks at rapping, or how, you know what I'm saying, and to come in and form that stuff. All we have now are people, let me let me correct. What we have a lot of now, all right, is people that mimic. All right, okay, I just tell a story and then we just drop, this in right here, and they could take that and run with it. All right, it's gonna get them far, or so far. And then they run into somebody who really does it, who really understands it, who really understands. You can A B, you can A, you can ABC. You can, right. They actually understand the underlying. They understand the mechanics, and they'll structure it a certain way. And then you might be going, okay, cool. And then this person comes straight left field on you. You're like, how am I supposed to compete with that? He just said that. Said this. This didn't even rhyme. Then he came back, made that rhyme twice. Went, came back, connected this one with the thing he said 3 bars earlier, right? That's why I used to like Freeway, when Freeway would rap. Oh man, for me it was dope because you always expected he was gonna, yeah, and I was out cooking the chicken, and you're expecting him to rap chicken, right? You're expecting him to rhyme something with that the next time, but he doesn't, right? I was out here getting the chicken, $4. Yeah, I was making a meal. Then I came back to the one, I had to hit him, right? And then he just took the chicken. He came back on this one. He rhymed with that one. Then he went that, and then he connected it right there. And you're like, God damn, this dude. So there's different ways to do it. And the way you kind of use all of those like techniques to your advantage, man, it's something interesting. It's definitely something interesting. Let's see. Can you play one Jace song, or one last song? Let me see. I don't see a one Jace, so I'm gonna guess it's one last song. One Jace, he's an artist. Okay. Did I spell it right? Okay. Oh, just Jace. Oh, it's an L. Okay. Sorry, my chat's a little small over here. The way I got this stuff structured in my. Okay. Oh, he's got an exclamation point. Okay. Got you. go to Reverence 2. I am guessing that is an album, so... no, it's one. Reverence 2. Alright. And what song are we looking at? See if maybe that. Carrying the World. Let You Go or Carrying the World. Where's the other one? It's here. Let's give this one some love, all right? I'm like, dang, I'm just looking at all the plays. I'm like, why has this one got the least amount of love on it? Well, this one actually, but out of the two you recommended, actually this one.
I'm still thinking about that. Niggas ain't keep it real and I'm still thinking about that. Talk that talk, we touch his top, yeah, we gon' paint about that. Derek the ops did all that talking, we gon' spray about that. Brand new drop top with no top and we gon' spray about it. I had a couple of niggas switch up, they wanted fame about that. Hey, be hard to keep on track. In the back of the lab with a pin in the pad, trying to see if this shit gon' last. Trying to get on my ass and make shit happen, I think I did too bad. It be always trying to yell at me why you wanna hit so bad. Chase been in this shit for years, why you wanna hit so bad. At the top of the mountain, I'm thinking about how I missed too fast. At the top of the mountain, I'm thinking about how this way to feel. If I took it off my shoulders, it ain't did you shit. If it's about a fam, I'm devoted. I don't need it for shit. I'm in that matte black Range Rover, look like it came from Reek. Oh shit, Ty get turned up, they done woke him up again. I'm in that black stain Cobra, I done did my shit. 2 phones, who knows? New phone, who this? It's them niggas, they want smoke with Top Kid. No shit, then it's a hit, we send a blitz. Get him flip, about them shits, they know what the fuck I'm saying, nigga. If I don't eat, the perk won't sit, I'm getting sick, I can't feel shit. Trying to find the hit, been locked in like I ain't got no crib, that money I call dibs on it. She don't want no kids, she just want them niggas on her. Hey, it's really light, I could've talked that pain, but I chose not to. I'm still thinking about that. Niggas getting killed, I'm still thinking about that. Niggas ain't keep it real and I'm still thinking about that. Talk that talk, we touch his top, yeah, we gon' paint about that. Derek the ops did all that talking, we gon' spray about that. Brand new drop top with no top and we gon' spray about it. I had a couple of niggas switch up, they wanted fame about that. Hey, be hard to keep on track. In the back of the lab with a pin in the pad, trying to see if this shit gon' last. Trying to get on my ass and make shit happen, I think I did too bad. They been always trying to yell at me why you wanna hit so bad. Chase, you been in this shit for years, why you wanna hit so bad. At the top of the mountain, I'm thinking about how I missed too fast. At the top of the mountain, I'm thinking about how this way to feel. If I took it off my shoulders, it ain't did you shit.
Okay, nice. Uh-oh. And then let's check this real quick. He's got a good delivery.
Your mind's unstable, it's out of control. My signal's weakening, I'm losing all my connection. I need some help before I lose control. Oh, I'm slowly fading. Oh, but still can't let you go. My heart beats racing, I'm losing myself. Then why is it so hard
It's tears on her phone cause he ain't pick it up. She packing the bag, she gone cause he wasn't listening up. It's spirits all on her home, but it's just the last one. That he saying that she ain't feeling alone, ain't thinking about getting them gone. She can have 100 motherfucking niggas and still say all them wrong. I can have 100 motherfucking women and still take all them home. Oh, that's why you in my face. Oh, that's why you broke my phone. Oh, that's why every time you cry, you use your eyes for a shoulder to be on. Oh, that's why every time you lie, you switch it on me and start looking for reasons. Hey, but she ain't finding shit. The reason the shit wasn't working out is cause you had them other niggas. Every time I felt like it was a drop, I had to get up and go get it. Anytime you getting up out that house is when you go party and kick it. She keeps saying that she don't even want no spouse unless he time out chicken. Only thing she love more than herself is alcohol and Benjamin. She gon' keep on tripping. I'ma keep on sitting back. She gon' keep on sipping liquor. I'ma keep on chilling. You can go on here fuck with them niggas, girl. I don't know them niggas. But when shit get old, you feeling alone, you better still hold them niggas. I don't know why I'm stuck in her head. She treat me like them voices. I don't know why she won't leave my bed. She starting to be annoying. I don't know why she hooked on them drugs. She just trying to feel her avoidance. She don't know why she keep hitting the club. She just trying to find assurance. Fuck that shit.
I'd say this is pretty current.
Gotta drop no more tears. If you saying you want it, it's yours. If I say I want it, it's mine too. She ain't trying to hear it, cause she ain't being lied to. That's one of my biggest fears, cause you a fucking lied to. Hey, you know, I've been teed up. Fucking lied to.
Definitely attentive.
How can I hear you when you choose to leave words unspoken? Two worlds collide.
And again, the same thing. You can, on a topic, you know. So I like this. One, this would be relatable to a lot of people, right? Two, he was able to kind of tie everything together, even as he's talking and making the comparison, the compare and contrast, right? I like it. He took several, again, from a writing standpoint, he's taken several different things there and has utilized that, right? And that kind of keeps you engaged as you're listening, right? You start picking up that stuff. So writers will definitely appreciate that. From an audio engineering standpoint, and I noticed this a lot, so it's not a big thing, but it's just the low end where the kick and the bass is. I would have liked that to be a little cleaner, just a little cleaner. But everything sounds good. I hear everything, so it's not like a big deal or anything. But I like this song. The song's dope. Smooth that over. Definitely appreciate it. And I tell people all the time, if you got music and you're looking for like feedback on it or something like that, feel free, right? As long as I'm not like in the middle of something, yeah. Maybe we can have days where I'm just kind of like this, where I'm just kind of just talking about things, and if people want to come in and show their music at that time or something like that. Or if you don't want feedback, you just want me to play it or something, that's fine as well. But if you ask for my feedback, I'll give you my honest feedback. All right. So, like I said, I've been there, right? I've been an artist, and then up until 2008, though the last song I wrote. But at that point, like everybody was just now realizing you could, what? You don't need like a big mixing console and all that. You can just get a computer and a program, right? So it was crazy, especially out here. I live in Texas, all right. So it was crazy. Everybody had, some kind of freestyle group or CD they were putting out or whatever. Everybody was downloading using the same instrumentals. It was oversaturated like crazy, right? So at the time, my thing was like, what can I do, right, to kind of separate myself, and also make a name for myself, right? When everybody's, when it's like that, and you start looking for like one-hit wonders, and you're not really trying to pay attention to like when longevity's not a focus, and I'm talking about the music industry here. Yeah, things started going downhill somewhat, and I was just like, all right, time to find a new avenue. That's when I started picking up more behind the scenes work. Started teaching myself to make beats. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. All right, I didn't go to school for this. I didn't go to school for mixing or audio engineering or nothing. But when we go to make this music, break everything down for you, right? So when I'm working, I'm usually up here. It's the wrong one. I'm usually up here. I'm doing it live. We're building live. We'll mix down stuff live, all that kind of stuff. If you want to know what's happening, whatever, I do walkthroughs. We talk about all of it. Where's the folder? Here it is. So, but yeah, we'll build stuff, and then, like I said, as far as the mixing and stuff goes, I can do that. And no, I've not gone to school for it, so I don't mind. I always say I'll share what I know, and I mean that. You got a question about something, ask me. If I have an answer, I'll answer. If I don't, I'm sorry. Like, let me go look into it or something, okay? But right, I was playing with it. Right, so just different stuff. All right. So not only can I build the stuff, all right, but I can also make this stuff sound really, really good. And it was a long time in the making. That's several different hats I've had to wear over the course of a long time. Okay. Appreciate it. So currently, I'm in the House of Beat Club, and for the most part, I've just been in the back of the classroom, all right, paying attention, taking notes, right? And there's been a drastic change between the time I got in and now, right? Just trying to understand more of what I could do, kind of what the limits are, right? And how far I can go with that stuff. This is a 1, 3, 4, 5 progression in a minor key. Okay. Right? This. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's a lot of practice. So what did I tell you? Right? So we can. Then we go to the 3. Then it's a 4. And then you do 5. But this doesn't sound very it's just like it feels like something's missing there, right? So we borrow from that harmonic scale. And so this turns from a G minor to a G major. And so you get more tension, right? Instead of that, because it just doesn't hit. Okay. Then again, after playing with that progression, doing everything in root position, start looking. Okay. So let's say I do a C minor 7. Well, when I go to play that 3 chord, because it's every other note, skip, play, right? It's basically this minus the C, right? So I understand that these have notes that are in common, and the only difference is these two, but these notes are the same. So I can start like this by taking this and bringing it down, and the only note that is different, so all I have to do at that point is take the note that's different and only got to move it just one step over, or one note over in that scale. Okay? Instead of same notes, different positioning. And then I just moved over, shifted everything over. Right? And so once we got that together, it was just a matter of building on top of it, right? Appreciate you stopping by, man. You have a good evening. I think the evening, well, I don't know where you are, but your evening is probably almost over. It's 10:40 p.m. here, so... But hopefully you have a good rest of your weekend. Hopefully I'll see you around sometime. I should say see you again sometime, right? Yeah. Oh, he did say he'll be back up here. All right, appreciate it. I'm prepping these beats, and then I am uploading these to my BeatStars page, so the stuff will be up here, and if people like anything that's going on here, well, they know where they'll be able to go to pick it up. All right, so yeah, I do multiple things. And so I would say here, even though I'm teaching or at least going over some music theory, I only still kind of know the basics, right? So I'm trying to progress myself in that manner, but I know enough to where we can create that stuff, right? And so I might have to struggle with how I'm gonna play this or whatever. Y'all get to watch all that stuff, all right? But we do it, and the thing I had to right, and that was a whole that was a whole nother that was an inside that was like a fight within myself, right? um Not really feeling like I'm good enough or knowing that I still have things to work on and all of that stuff. But you know, once you do it and you get started and things get rolling, after that you don't mind anymore. Hey, if we get up here tomorrow and we start creating something and an hour goes by and I still haven't completed it yet, okay, we'll get at it tomorrow, right? Like same thing. If I wasn't on stream, that would be the same thing. I worked on it. It didn't turn out right. Okay, bad day. We'll have a good day tomorrow. Come in tomorrow. Bam. Next thing maybe you just needed that break or something like that, and you're ready to go, right? I still got a lot of work ahead of me because I have machine here. Right? And as you can see, I'm in this one shot area. I can't open this, but if I go here, because I'm actually trying to sort through this, I have the collector's edition. So it's everything. And when I say everything, I mean it's a lot, like a lot. So that, right? Drums, kick. Do you see this scroll bar right here? That's how many kicks, okay, that I have to go through. I'm not saying it's all for hip hop. I'm just saying there's a lot of kicks that I have to go through just to find something that sounds good that I would use. But remember, I said kick. I haven't even gone through snares. I haven't gone through hats. I haven't gone through toms. I haven't gone through none of that. All right. But I'm doing a little bit every day. So when I hit this favorite button, all the sounds that I have starred are now here. So you can see I've made it all the way to the B's. I was tired. I was tired, all right? So I'm still going through this. And then what I want to do is once I kind of comb through the individual drum sounds, is I want to start being able to create my own kits. So I can come in here while we're building something and be like, okay, I like the way that sounds. We're going to drop that over here in the first slot. So right, and then be able to switch over to our snares, find a good snare. Same thing like we would do over here, right? Same thing, but here I'll be able to do things like save, right? So I have like pre-made kits that I can just cycle through, okay? So let's say we're doing something, bam, and I got an idea going. I don't have to go back and start trying to search for drums or trying to move certain drums into a folder and then trying to go through that folder. I could literally just come in a machine, call it up. On top of that, right? Here, let's select all this mode thing here so we can emulate the different types of like NPCs that came out. So I can actually get a different kind of sound or color coming from these same sounds, right? Going through machine, and it's not something I'll be able to do in FL without a lot of work being involved in that, right? bam, switch it, bam, and then everything is routed, right? So I got that set up to where it's in its own mixer track. So I could, and you see it popping out in its own thing. So as I'm building it, it'll already be in its own place, and then all I have to do is open up the mixer, which I can do from the keyboard, but I can use the knobs there. I can control the volumes and everything that I want to, and get that leveled in here before I start actually going to mix. But it'll still keep that emulation sound as well, so I can get that, nice MPC flavor without necessarily having the physical MPC. It's just the MIDI machine controller, right? Yeah, so some stuff that I'm going through, but at the end of the day, it's gonna make it more efficient, right? So I got the keyboard, and that's why I like learning how to play this thing, right? Makes things more efficient. I missed something there. Yeah, that's the thing right there. My finger keeps slipping from there, but we want to be able to kind of walk that up, right? Here to here, and then to here, right? But those are still things I gotta practice on, and I don't necessarily have the world's smallest fingers either. So, and this keyboard doesn't necessarily have the world's biggest keys. So, so we're working on that. Ooh, I already butchered it. Right? So right? So I'm still going down my own little thing, and whatever I'm learning, again, I have no problem sharing what I know. Yo, we got Grimes in the building. Hold on. Hashtag bomb on top, man. How you doing this evening? Appreciate you stopping by. He said we in here. You right. Oh man. I think it's in the laundry. I was gonna flash up my bomb on top shirt, man. But I'll be wearing it, man. I'll be wearing it. I like it. It's a nice fit. Looks good. All right. Y'all definitely check out Grimes, man. Real cool dude. Met him over on Twitch some time ago. Before he came over here to kick. Overall, real good dude, real supportive, and I support what he does. He's definitely gotten some music from me. All right, and will continue to do so. And he was kind enough to send me a shirt. He makes shirts. All right, so I'm trying to hook y'all up. He makes shirts. That's all I'm saying. So definitely check him out. And appreciate you being here, man. Appreciate it. So, kind of back what we were. Are we too far? Are we too far? Oh, we're not even in the right thing. We're in the wrong piano. All right, so in that major key, you start with your 1. You take your 7. Okay, you're gonna take your 3 and your 5. You're gonna shift it up a half step. You're gonna get this nice little sound. So, all right. So your 1. This is gonna be your dominant, or your 7, and we're gonna have this raised 3rd here, and this raised 5th. Okay, and then you go over to your 3. Okay, and then we're gonna go to that 2. You're gonna do the 5, and as you can see, that's basically being inverted. That's your D minor 7. This is your right. That's your G, B, D, F. Okay, so that's your 5, and then to your 1. So together it's and there you go, instant R&B, right? Not hard at all. But what will really help you out is, first of all, not using triads. So not using, 'cause you're not really pulling that off too much. It sounds weird like that, and you can't really get those kind of like close movements until you start using 4 notes. When you start using 4 notes, it starts making things easier, right? So you could, sorry. Right? And you could play what they call the circle of fifths, and you can do that. You could jump around all day, and then you take 4, and then you start noticing you can still hit those notes and not have to do very much in your right hand. Right? So you still played all of those notes, right? The D minor, the G dominant, the C major, the F major, right? The B diminished, the E minor, the A minor, right? But instead of having to jump around like that, you can just keep everything close together. So here's your D minor 7, and all we do is take our last 2 notes here and just shift them down 1 note. Now we have G, B, D, F, so we're going into an inverted position here for our dominant, and then the next was C, right? So all we had to do now is take the 2 bottom notes and move them down 1 note, right? So now you have, see how much easier that gets, right? And then you keep that going, and then you can keep going. back to A, C, E, G, right? And now you're playing an inverted version of that where when you got there, you were doing something different, right? So then you start going, okay, well, that sounds cool. Again, now that you know this trick, then it doesn't matter. When you get to a scale, so let's take F minor, right? We can start with 4. Right? Simple, not complex at all, but it sounds like it, right? But these are very simple movements, just taking those 2 notes and then moving them to the next note in the scale. And if you practice that, right, and use your thumb, your finger, your middle finger, right, and your pinky, leave this alone, okay? There's a whole little thing. You have a bone that connects these two, which is why when you try and move one, the other follows, right? But this has the shortest range, right? So these are kind of independent. They're not connected like that. So these are very strong fingers to use. And then out of these two, you would like to use this one. This has more range and can move around than this can, right? And the more you start trying to stretch that and all that, you'll start to hurt your hand, right? So when you see the 4 notes being played, that's your 1, your 2, your 3, and then your 5, and we leave that 4th finger just kind of dangling. Now, it doesn't mean we never use it, but these are your strongest fingers, right? Which is why when you see them play, it's always like that, right? And then if there just happens to be a note right next, right, then okay, we'll drop that because it doesn't have to do much work, all right? But use your strongest fingers, right, and you'll be okay, and your thumb, right? So you get used to that position. And you'll be all right. But one thing you're gonna quickly learn is that this I don't care how strong they say it is, that needs some work, all right? You gotta develop that, because it is not a finger that you just use on a daily basis like that, right? So where are we going? Right? So really dope sound right there. Into that G major 7, and then right. And that's how, right? That's how you end up with something that sounds like this. Which is still being worked on, by the way. Can we, Right? Dope sub. And again, it's not taking any crazy movements or nothing like that. A lot of it is just understanding where you are, what you're playing, and remembering certain movements or jumps that you make and repeating them. That's pretty much the it's pretty much it, you know. Oh, we vibing, yeah. So and a lot of y'all like anime, so kind of like what I was playing earlier. Okay, this is a 4, 5, 3, 6 progression, and this is known as the Royal Road progression. Again, kind of looking at that and seeing how you go up here, and we're taking that 7th note and we're bringing it down here because that matches with our 4, right? So that's why I do this, and then I just move to our 5, and that's why it still sounds good, right? Could you do it without it? Yeah. Right? If you want to play 4 notes here and then 3 here, you could do that. And then from here, we do our 6, right? So the 6 is going to be A, C, E, G. So we're already on the E and the G. All we need to do is get to the A and the C, right? Which means, right? Very short movements, not a lot of moving around. Repeat. Right? And you can find a lot of anime songs or songs out over in Japan and things that use that. That progression is about as common as our 1, 5, 6, 4, right? That's their equivalent. Okay, that's their popular thing, right? And then you can have fun, right? And I just went, we could do this, right? But I'm learning those jazz techniques. So I take this and bring it up here. Right, and then just walk it down. Oops, sorry. And then, because after you do this, if I followed that same pattern, I end up at the 2. There's the 5, but I didn't end it. Wait a minute. I came back. Here. Back to this. Then we went here. We paused for a second. Right? Passing chord. And then came and like closed it out, right? Because this never touches home, right? It's a 4, 5, 3, 6. So you never hit 1. So this is one of those chord progressions that can go on and on forever. It doesn't have like an ending. You don't know where it begins or where it ends, basically, right? And you can just keep going on and on forever with this, right? But when I started kind of adding that other stuff in there, it kind of made it interesting, right? And then moving out of that, right? And then actually going to the home, to the tonic, right? We can actually end that and then bam, it comes to a close, and you're like, whew. So, Restream said, congratulations on the messages. I got you. So again, learn those scales, right? Learn how to form the chords, right? Once you get a good grasp on that, right? Oop. Right? Once you're able to make those chords and you grasp the scale and how to do that and you're comfortable with it, right? Then you can start taking advantage of those chord progression Roman numerals, okay? So if you're watching a YouTube video or something and someone's saying, I don't know, this popular binary chord progression, it's a 1-6-4, right? Then you know to play the one in that, and then you can find the 6. Do you have to play it up here? You don't, but you might want that color, but you can play it down. And then the 4, so this is the 6, then 5, 4, right? So but we usually don't stop at 3, right? You do in some cases, but not something like that. You would have another something. It'd either be a 1 or you would go to like a 5, right? So right? That's your bass. Right? You start making use of that. Okay. Then start adding that extra note. Start creating those 7s. Because you get some nice stuff in it sometimes. Sorry, wrong note. Right? And so you can get something that sounds really, really nice. Once you get that down, creating the scale, chords in each scale, and being able to take advantage of the Roman numerals or just finding a way around yourself, right? Once you know how to do the chords, it's up to you. Experiment, maybe. So maybe we want to try that and see what we can get. So let's okay, so now that's 1 to our 5 to our 3 to our 4. Okay, you don't necessarily have to go and look up Roman numerals, right? But if you just want something quick or want to know what the popular stuff is, you can easily go and look that up. Google's very great for that. You can look for them in major, you can look for them in minor. If you want to know what keys are good to start on, you can look and see what keys are more popular, right? Like maybe getting into B major or B flat major might be good. A lot of popular songs played in those keys. Or maybe when you get to minor, it's going to be a C minor, a C sharp minor, a G minor, that kind of stuff. And then you can start applying this stuff from that point moving forward. Once you kind of get that together, then start trying to get into those other modes, right? So being able to, again, whoops. start playing around with some of these other modes, and see what you get. And sometimes just changing a note or two can work wonders. Like, alright, cool. This is F minor, but if we skip this second, and instead of this, we play this. Right? Right? And you can just right? And now you're like, whoa, okay, I just unlocked something, right? Here's your C minor, but we're gonna skip that second note, play, play. We're gonna introduce this note, right? Right? Certain little things, if you just play around with it, you don't know what you're gonna end up with, but I promise you there's a name for it, right? Just experiment with it, but get comfortable with at least the basics and understanding that, and then as you go, okay? So just taking 2 fingers and moving it over just went from playing a 1 to playing a 4, right? Right? You can have fun with this stuff all day. Sometimes you can start but you're never gonna know what you can make till you actually do it and stop being scared to do it, right? Here we go with this one again, right? 1, 5, 1, 3, 5. We're in G minor, playing our 1 chord, okay? And maybe you got some other stuff on top of it, playing and doing this thing, right? But on the flip side, you could have something under this. How are you gonna do that? Well, you break the chord. We have 5 notes that we're playing right now, so if I decide I want to right? If I decide I want to do that, well now here's this repeating melody or chord of mine, and all we did was break it up. And you don't have to play it like that either, because I went up and then down and then back up, right? But you don't have to do that. You could literally just remember what you did, right? So you can repeat it. Right? Right? And you can take stuff so you don't have to necessarily right? You can do that. And even when you move, if you want to do the same thing with that, you can too. Just to kind of show you, you can mix them as you want, right? Different things that you can do to kind of get ideas on, it doesn't necessarily have to be this or right or something like that, or where you play them together all the time. It doesn't have to be a strum up or a down, right? You can mix it. Right? You can change stuff around. You can do things like that. You can think of songs like TLC's No Scrubs, okay? That melody is a chord, and that chord was just broken up. That's it. That's why that works like that, and that's why I went throughout the song like that. It was a chord progression, and it was just played out note by note. Just because it's played like that doesn't mean it's not a chord, right? Now, if you're just whatever, right? Then maybe. But when you start, when that starts being the thing that kind of drives the song, that's your chord progression, and your chord progression is just right? It works the same way. It doesn't matter. It's just there's so many different ways you can pull it off. Yeah. And like I said, if you hear something you like, you use the chord progression. Like it's not illegal. It's not illegal. All right. If that was the case, the first person to use any progression would have been the owner and would have been at people's necks. Everyone who tried to use that would have been sued. All right, that doesn't get us nowhere, right? So no, it's not. Oh. I don't know why I keep playing that. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to think about it. Wrong note. You know, you just have fun with it. Also, if you're thinking of something like, say, you know, we were talking earlier about the progression, the 1 3 4 5 in the minor that I had. You can play something over and over again, and sometimes you might, right? And maybe that's just something that just makes it a little different. It makes it just stand out, right? Right? And there's little things you can do in between that can kind of separate that out, or don't play it like that. Right? You can play around with it. Once you kind of get that part, then you can start experimenting with, like, can I plug other notes in? Can we, okay, here's our 1, but if I shift, right? And then what happens if I shift this? Oops. Right? You can still play around and see what happens if I kind of start moving things around instead of just playing it in the exact same fashion that somebody else played it, right? And these are different ways, and it's kind of like when I went back to this, right? So this is our A minor, but to play this diminished, before I went there, even though the A was my bass note, right? And then as I change, I hit this before I go here, right? So sometimes that works. And again, whatever you're doing in one key on that scale can be replicated in another key on that same scale. It's the scale that ultimately counts, right? So, okay, I can start here. Oops. Right? Only thing it's gonna give me, depending on the notes that we start on, is just a different vibe. Right? That's it. Back to the end. So any moves that you make while you're learning, just understand that goes with you. Any key that you move to, those same moves can be replicated, and that's how you can get something similar, right? But something different at the same time. So you can like how this sounds, and maybe you're playing it like that, but maybe when you switch keys, you wanna maybe do something a little different, or, you know. Right? Right? That's up to you how you want to carry it, but that is still in D minor. It's 1, 6. That's your 4, and that's that major 5, right? So we're not playing the A minor, we're playing A major, right? Same tricks. Doesn't matter where you go. E minor. Play that 1. We're gonna play our 6. Want to play that 4, and then we play that 5, but we're not, right? We're gonna turn that minor and make it a major. And you can replicate this stuff. So it'll take a lot of the stress out of mastering the keyboard, right? Because everything really it's math. If you can remember a formula, there's a formula to play this, there's a formula to create this, there's a formula to create this, there's a formula to create this, right? you have different things, and if you can remember those, they create certain shapes, and then you just remember, right, how you make that. And then it doesn't matter where you're going, what you're thinking about, what key you're playing. You're like, I want to play this key, but I want to make a major. Okay, so I want to do a minor. We know the 3, we flatten it a half step, so that just goes here. So now it's an A flat minor, right? The same things apply. Like it doesn't change, right? It doesn't change at all. All right. If I want to make this a diminished, well, we have this, and then, right, you know what note to shift from your starting position, and you're gonna end up getting, or what notes, okay, and you'll get that. So you can have your C major 7, but someone says play a C dominant 7. Well, how do you take a dominant? You take your major, right, you take your 7th, and then you just flatten it, which means you just go down a half step, and that's your dominant chord, right? Same thing with this, because when they're playing here, that's the dominant. Once you go to the 1, and you're like, huh? That's a G major? No, that's a G dominant. This is your G major 7, right? Because that's the G major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So if you're gonna do a G major 7, it's this. When you take that 7th and you flatten it, that's giving you that dominant sound, right? Hear it? That's giving you a dominant sound. So it could be a little confusing seeing that being played on all of those white keys, and actually calling that a G major 7, but that's a G dominant 7. This would be G major, yes. But once that 7th gets involved, this is G major 7. This is a G dominant 7. C major 7, C dominant 7. F major 7, F dominant 7, right? So they have different ways that they're written, of course. If it's a major 7, it will say MAJ and then have a 7. If it just has the note and a 7, that is a dominant 7th. All right, those are different. So, yo, MD Soul, appreciate you stopping by, man. How you doing? I'm doing all right. Just giving a borderline lecture here. I think we've gone on long enough, haven't we? Now see, here, I will play this, but we went here, right? Instead of that minor, we did the major, right? For that tension. Then we can end it there. Or, and this is a C dominant 7, right? And then instead of going back to here to get to the F, what we can do is hold these two, and then when we get here, we can play this right here, which actually sounds really cool. Listen. Here, let's move it up. All right, so hear how that sounds? Now that's outside of that key, but it just sounds so good, right? Right, but actually we're playing this right here. So when we get there, we're doing this. So it's kind of taking that F major. So instead of doing a minor, it's a major that we're playing there, right? So sorry, too fast. Right? You hit that major, that's a different sound right there. Again, that steps out of the F minor, right? But playing that F major just kind of does something that sounds a little different, right? I don't know, playing it like that just sounds different, but playing it like, right? Something about that, it's just dope. I like it. All right, so those are some things that you can do. And again, when we do get to building stuff, I'm always talking about or talking through what I'm doing, what is being played, why that may necessarily sound good. So if you would like, again, I'm not the greatest at it, but I know enough, right? I know enough. And so you might learn some things. I know people are like, man, I want to be able to make, better stuff, whatever. And while there's plenty of content that you can go and find on the internet on how to do that, a lot of times they don't take the time to kind of walk you through that unless you're gonna spend $100 on their course. And you may or may not grasp what they're telling you afterwards. All right, and so then you'll start seeing a lot of reviews like, this is garbage, or this is actually good, but he's not really saying anything, right, that I don't already know, or whatever. Maybe it's somebody that's avid pianist or guitarist or whatever it might be. But for them, if they're saying it's nothing for them to learn, right, there might be something for you to gain from it. And you got to kind of be able to discern what some people are telling you, right? Because some people will also try and knock somebody else just to get you to go and get what they got, right? Ain't that about it? All right, so it's a sad world. It's a sad world we live in, man. But me, I'm not I'm not asking for anything. I'm just saying you're gonna have to put in the time or you're gonna have to put in the money, right? You're gonna have to pay the money for somebody else's time. That's just how it goes, right? Hey, look, I like this chair. It's comfortable, okay? I'm either gonna put in the time to build this myself, right? Learn the skills, whatever, and build this myself, or I'm gonna have to go find somebody, go to a store, whatever. So I want a chair. How much is it gonna cost me? And you're gonna have to pay for somebody else's time, for somebody else's work, right? It's just how it works. So if it's something you're interested in, what I'm telling you is stick around, you're gonna learn something, right? You stick around, you're gonna learn something. Put in the time. And if that ain't your thing, just hit me up and say, I need a beat. What's it gonna cost me? And we can talk. That's it. It's really that simple, right? Mixing. If that's something you want to do, hey, I already made beats. I just can't get, this to sound good, whatever. Pull up. I do live mix downs. Pull up, man. You'll learn. In time, you will learn. If not, then you pay the money for somebody else's time. Hey, man, can you mix my track for me? What's it going to cost me? I'll let you know. Or go find somebody else. But whatever it is, you're going to have to pay for their time. It's just how it works. All right? So, where was I trying to go? I don't think I was trying to go anywhere. Let's go into... Oh, here. All right, so a lot of people just see me and I'm up here and I'm just doing beats, but I actually have work from different artists, a couple out here, a couple that I've met online on the internet. One guy I literally met on another streaming platform and he was recording the song live. He was trying to mix his vocals in with a beat that he had bought, or I think his producer made, and he was taking out the compressor and he started moving things. I'm just watching and he's moving things, but he's not triggering the compressor at all. And he's like, he said, I don't think it's working. And I'm like, it's not, in my head, but I'm just watching him and he's kind of fiddling with things, but he's not pushing down enough for it to engage, right? So he gets frustrated, and he was like, I'll do it later. So I just chimed in. He didn't even know I was watching the stream, so I just kind of popped in, said what's up, and then I told him I could do it for him. I didn't ask him to pay for it or nothing. I just seen what he was doing, and what he was doing, he's a decent artist. So I said, hey man, I said, I'll do it for you. I said, I will get on my stream right now. You can watch me mix your track down live. I'll mix your vocals. So I did that, and after that, I got hired to do his LP. We talked, and bam, we went and did that. All right, so yes, I can work with vocals as well as a beat. All right, I do really, really good. And once we got everything done, we talked it out, made sure it was the way he liked everything and it sounded to his liking. Then, bam, he paid, and feedback that he gave me, great. All right, I still got that screenshot somewhere, but basically he was saying it was really great. Where he lives, there's one producer or one engineer that pretty much everybody in his city runs to. And he said he's good. It's just that since so many people go to him, if you send him a song, you might not get it back really fast. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to end up waiting some time before you get it. So he trusted in my ability to get things done. I got it done. And when he went to go play his music, right, people were like, I could hear everything, right? And I can make out the words that you were saying, this, that, and yet. I still have the screenshot. So to him, it was crazy because people were actually paying attention to his lyrics and they weren't just hearing like the beat. And kind of like what I was talking about earlier with the guy who was sharing his music, like your vocals are kind of being drowned out by the beat, and you need to create some pockets in the beat itself so that your vocals sit on top of the beat. Otherwise, there's going to be moments where things will start playing, especially in the bass, and it'll start trying to fight or overwhelm your vocals, right? You got to do that work, and I can do that work, right? I can do that. So even in the beginning of the stream, if you go back, there are like 2 songs that play. They're not one's vocals from Angie Stone, a well-known artist, and the other is Jay-Z, right? But my beats are there, and again, I had to go and do the same thing. I still went to EQ the vocals and add saturation and all that, but again, right? I can even pull that up and show you all the work that I did to it, right, to make that happen. But if you want it to stick out in front of the beat, there are some things you got to do. Alright, so you can hear the kick while the kick's playing, while the vocals are going. Everything got its own space, its own place, and nothing's fighting with the other, trying to be heard in this track. Right? So that's what I could do. That's what I could teach you, right? And you don't have to pay a dime if you don't want to. You can learn how to do it yourself. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm here for. You know what? Let's go. It's back. So this one, I redid the. Oh, it's not here. Did I toss it? I might have, because once I put it up on my drive, I just removed it. Because I want to actually. Here we go. So I went just yesterday. It was a really, really short stream. And we redid the mix on this, so you guys get to see me undo all of the stock plugins. Alright, and then we use the UAD plugins that I got recently to redo the mix on this. Alright. Being able to hear that piano, being able to hear those strings, right? Being able to hear those drums, and everything just feels like it's sitting nice, cozy, comfy, and nothing's like fighting for space or to be heard. There's no like super muddiness down in the low end. The bass sounds really tight, really clean, right? Just all of that. The snare is nice, it hits. Sounds like you got some dimension there. We got some reverb in there if you really listen to it. If you got headphones on it, you'll be able to hear it a little bit. Alright? The instruments, everything's got stuff going on in it. And all of these things are somewhat subtle, but together it makes a big, big difference. Yo, Addickstein. Teach me how to match bass line with sample. Thank you, sir. You trying to get me in trouble. That's what you're trying to do, man. You're trying to get me in trouble. Trying to get me in trouble on YouTube, because the minute they're gonna be like, hey. No samples. All right, they're gonna hit me. But lucky for you, there's a workaround. You know what that workaround is? Where we at? The workaround. I feel like that's, yeah, it might be. All right, let's go in here. All right, so let's just, I don't know, let's take one. All right. I like this. So I don't get to see anything. So I'm not in there. So it's not telling me what the what key this is being played in. We're just gonna grab this master track right here. We're just gonna pull it up. All right. First thing I'm gonna do, click this little window right here. I'm gonna go to detect tempo. All right. Then I'm gonna choose. Well, it says it's at 120. I doubt it. Let's run it from 50 to 100 because we know hip hop is around the 86 BPM area, trap around that 73, 74 area, right? So we're gonna do something hip hop-ish. Let's go in here. All right. That don't even look right, but that's okay. That's okay. Let's pull this up a little bit. I think 80 is the number. All right. 80 is the number. Let's take this from, hold on. Let's do, I'm so sorry. That, go like this. Boom. Then it's not what I think that is it? Yeah, it is. All right, let's take this up. Bam. That will lock it. Go. Hit auto. Right, then let's move in a little more so we can get in here and move it on to 80. All right. Quick, I can show you how to do things quick. All right, so we're gonna go in here, bam, you get your sample in, you're like, all right, cool. I got this in here. I don't know, let's drag this over here. All right, it's playing. We're listening to this bad boy. You're gonna come in here. There's drums and things. We don't want that stuff in there, right? So we're gonna come in here and kind of filter that out. So let's start at about 120, because usually your kick, your snare and stuff's over here. You could maybe bring it up to about 160. Will pretty much take the majority of low end out, all right, without starting to cut into some of these instruments, because you make it sound too thin, your sample's gonna sound like trash. I'm telling you now. You still want to keep some of that warmth in there. So let's bring it back to about 160. Okay, bam, we go in. We're gonna do the same thing. High pass, low pass, everything, all right? Not just when some YouTube video, right? You remember some YouTube, it's everything, all right? So, we can't really hear that vocal too well, so let's back it up a little bit. Perfect. All right, bam, that does two things. We got things that live in the high end, so we just created room to where when that stuff plays, we hear it clearly, right? Right? And then we clear out the low end. Right? Bam, you got both sides locked in, you are good to go. All right. So now you've done this, and then you decide. Come on. We're gonna add this pitch wheel. All right. Okay, there we go. I'm feeling that. All right. Right? All right, we think we hot fire right now, all right? So, what are we gonna do with this bass? Show you something you can do real quickly, because you can hear other stuff that's playing. Alright, so you can either do it this way with the bass, which is probably going to make you frustrated, or take out your piano, okay? What you're going to do is keep striking a note. Let's go up here. See how it sounds good throughout the entire duration of this sample? Now I'm just trying to fill out the scale. Is this a major? Is this a minor? Right now I'm playing in a minor. Okay, now I know that this song right now, even after I pitched it, is in F sharp minor. The scale's yours now. It's done. Okay? Can you get a tuner and go and try and let this pick it out? You can also, but you can really quickly figure it out because your ear's not stupid when it hears, right? You can start hearing when it starts sounding like it's good, but this is the only note that I can hit over and over, no matter what chord, no matter what note's playing, and it sounds good. That's how you know this is gonna be it, and now you just need to figure out if it's, well, F sharp major ain't working. So now that you know you're in F sharp minor, you can set that in here if you would like, or you can now go to your bass, and now right now you know what notes you have available. Can you even see that? Could run the wrong thing. Okay. Right? Now you can start picking out the notes from there. Right? Start playing with that. You're in the scale now. You can't get... Here, let's go up more so you can kind of hear it. Right? There you are. Next thing you know, bam, you're good to go. So, but what else was I telling you, right? When it comes to those bass, when it comes to bass, especially bass guitar, they like moving a lot from 5 to 1, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? You can start playing with that. Ooh, that was loud. Oh, sorry. Right? That'd be the same thing here. Sorry, I keep hitting that wrong note. That's all I'm saying. It's really easy to find it. And then once you find the scale, let's say you don't like this and you want to pitch it, okay? So maybe you want to hear, okay, F sharp minor was the scale we were in. We've only gone up 2 semitones. Okay, F sharp minor, right? Bam. So let's take F sharp minor into G, into A flat, and then build a minor scale. And you can follow it, right? So again, you could even say it was in its original key. Let's say you took a Stevie Wonder song or whatever, and you're like, okay, I pitched this, but I don't know what key we're in now. What key is Stevie Wonder? Let's say isn't she lovely? It's in E major. You plus 4 at E major. So you start on E, F, F sharp, right? Go up 4 and you're gonna be in that key. As soon as you pitch it up 4 semitones, that's all it's doing, right? So you know what scale, you know what the 1 is. So from the 1, just go up 4 semitones. That's what the plus 4 is. It's just moving it by half steps, right? Or semitones, right? They said 4 tones, then it'd be 4 steps, right? Whole steps. So you would just take that 4 whole steps over and you would be okay. But it's all in semitones. So again, it's really easy. And then once you have that, make that scale, and then from there you're already gonna know, right? Any of these notes that I play within this scale is gonna sound good, right? And then if I want to repeat the note that's actually, playing, if I want to play that same note in the bass, you can do that also, but just know that you don't have to play it like that as well. So now that we know we're in our A flat major, right? Right? So I'm starting with that 5-1. Right? You can play around with it at that point and figure out something dope. Figure out something dope in the way you want to play it. Right? That's pretty much how that works, but it's not difficult to figure out. So while that's playing, let's see. Okay, when I go to that half step, it don't sound right. So let's take a whole step. Okay, the half step works here. Don't work there. Take a whole step. Take a half step from there. That don't work. Go back. Take a whole step. Play it back. Right? Half step. Okay, that sounds kind of cool. Half step. Go back. Whole step. You could literally just sit here until you figure out what sounds good. Your ear is not gonna lie to you, right? Whoops. Right? Like you at that point it's on you. Once you have the scale, you can't mess it up. If you mess it up at that point, welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? I'm gonna tell you to keep your day job. All right. But it's that. I mean, it's literally that. And don't get me wrong, I used to be there, right? I used to be there, so I could laugh about it. I used to be the one, right? Boom, boom. Because all I could hear were the notes that I was conditioned to from the notes that I was able to figure out just playing by ear, all right? Until I learned that songs are played in different keys, and then from those keys there are scales, right? And all you have to do is figure out first what key it's in, and then find out what scale it's in, and then just stay there. You can't mess it up, right? That's what we go with these warm-ups for. All the notes in that scale sound good against this one chord, which is your one chord, your home chord, right? It may not be the best sounding, but it all sounds good. Right? If I start playing stuff that don't belong there, you can tell that don't sound right, right? It's not in key. Right? If I start playing things that don't belong, it starts sounding weird. Right? You start going, wait, those notes don't pair well together. Okay, we need to come back and figure something out that don't work, right? But that actually works out for you, right? Wait, excuse me, what is that? Oh, okay. That sounds excellent right there, right? And you can just play through it and hear it for yourself. And as you hear it for yourself, you're also watching it, so you get a visual. And now you know if I play, This is good. You don't even have to know what to call that. Just know it sounds good. Right? Just know it sounds good, right? So that's music in a nutshell. It's about what you feel. So once you figure that out, right? Bam, it works. It just works. That's the one chord, just okay. It ain't gotta sound perfect, but it sounds good. And that's how you know, like I said, just find that one note. Not every note's gonna sound perfect like that, but when you hit that right note, you're gonna know. Your ear's gonna tell you. And that's how you know this is the key. And now you just need to figure out the scale. Is it major? Is it minor? Is it Dorian? Is it Phrygian? Is it pentatonic? Is it major pentatonic, minor pentatonic? Like, what is it after that? Then you can start fishing around. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to either be major or it's going to be minor, right? And once you figure that out, right? And if you don't want to have to like fish around for it, I guess you can use something like a tuner. FL has one. I don't know how well that bad boy works though. Let's see. I just like having fun when the music's going, the drums are going. We're just finding the groove, right? I'll tap that thing till it's. Wait, is that a pause moment? I don't know, but I'm just saying. All right, I'm just saying. Like I'll just listen. I'd rather use my ear. I know there's like some kind of a tuner thing. I just don't know if it's called tuner. Speak of the devil. All right, so we can change the. I know there's somewhere where you can reactivity. Here we go. So you can watch this thing do its thing till it. Let's see. Put it up to about 90. Okay, thank you. Let's go back a little bit. Come on. Be down a little more. I'm trying to get it to where it doesn't bounce around a lot. So it's picking out, right? I'm saying A flat, but remember, I'm saying A flat, but remember this is also G sharp. So if you go G and raise up, that's G sharp. But if you're A and you come back, it's A flat. So we'll say, A flat major or something like that. But this thing is saying it's G sharp. Okay, it's detecting it, right? You can still use that. And then that C sharp that it keeps picking up, again, I already figured it out. Once I found the key that sounded good, I'm like, okay, it's either major or minor. We're just going to fill it out. But you could use this, but you have to set it to where it's not too responsive. And that's a whole nother game. So you got to kind of play with this until you can get it to kind of pick it up and then just hold, right? Like determine that key and then just not move. But you may have to shuffle with this. And again, I'm like, by the time you do all that, I could have been found it on my keyboard. So you see how it turns red when it got to G sharp, because that was it. All right. So those are ways that you can do it. You can get a tuner, something that'll tell you what key it's in automatically. If you don't have anything like that, or something like this is just kind of frustrating you and it keeps bouncing around sometimes because it's detecting other chords, other notes that are being played as well, right? So again, it's just play that note. If you're in the wrong place, okay, that's cool. And then and you can tell as you're playing with it that you're kind of getting closer. You're like, okay, there we are. This is the one right here. And then figure out, because this ain't gonna tell you major or minor either. Now there are some, I think that it'll like just listen to the whole thing first and then spit it out based on the chords that it's detecting or the frequencies that it's detecting, because each note, right, associated with frequency, and it'll attempt to try and give it to you that way. But if you don't have anything that sophisticated, can't go wrong. All right, can't go wrong. Just once you find that one note that sounds good for the entire duration of that loop or that song that's playing, that's how you know that's the home key, because it'll always, no matter what, sound good. Right? It always sound good. Doesn't matter where you go. Oops. Right? That's the whole scale for E major while playing the 1 and the 5 of E major. Which is also dope, because if you wanted to play a minor, E minor and E major still have the same 1 and 5. It's just the middle note that changes. So then the E minor scale also sounds good under. So again, once you find that note that makes sense, then you can play with whether it's major or minor, right? Because the 1 is always going to potentially sound good, especially if it's open like that, like we were just talking. With just the 1 and the 5, it doesn't signify whether we're in major, whether we're in major or whether we're in minor, right? It doesn't signify it yet until that third comes in, and it's either that major third or you're getting that minor third, right? So leaving that open, it could be anything. So I could right? And then in the same breath, it's genius. That's what I can tell you. All right, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It's not difficult at all. I would say go for the piano, just because you'll be able to hear it better once you find the key, and then once you determine whether it's major or minor, and you have the scale. After that, it's over. Not only is it good because now you can form your bass, but anything you would like to add on to this song, you know what key it's in, you can now layer it, right? Oops. right? And then they're like, damn, he just had a sound, and then he added sounds on top of the sample, right? And they're like, this guy's a monster. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. I don't know how to be humble about that, all right? I don't know how to be humble about that. I might be low key, all right? I might be low key, like, I might be low key. Like, how do you get that synth in there like that? What? But once you have it, then you know all the tricks. Minor, major, scale, whatever. You can go crazy. You can go crazy. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah, where is it? Listen. Listen to the original. Listen to the original. Yeah. Bleh. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The moment you find what you're looking for, it is an absolute, alright, and complete rap. And then you can turn around. You can barely even hear the sample. Them my sounds. The bass and all, right? That brass comes in. Right? Once you have the scale, it's over. It's a wrap. Recreate anything after that, right? Let's see. And then even right here, we changed it. Then we cut it and it was like, come on, man. That's why, like I said, that's why it's important. All right, you learn that stuff. I promise you, music becomes 100 times more fun. And that's it. Just understand how to make a major and a minor scale. The majority of music is made in either a major or a minor scale, right? The key doesn't matter. It's either a major or a minor scale. So learn how to create a major scale. Learn how to create the minor scale, and 90% of music, you already have it. Learn how to form the chords, every other note in that scale. Right? Right? And once you learn that, start mixing and matching them. Right? I just used all but the seventh. We used every chord for that. That was 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5. Got a little half step action here, passing chord. 6, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. The funnest thing ever, and it doesn't require anything fancy, right? It's a wrap. It's over, guys. It's over. That little thing we were playing earlier. Dope, ain't it? That's a D minor 9. We just took the bass note and put it in the bottom. Okay. We go to play the G. I believe it's the G13. Okay. One note. Over to the left. See how simple that is? Shift. What is that? That's a C major 9. C's in the bass. Go to play this. Shift down a note. Okay, so practice. Right? Till you get it down. And then try the other chord. This is how you practice. Let's go back, add them together. Right? Okay. Got that under control. Let's get to the next one, right? Okay. Oh, sorry. I was like, something don't sound right, but okay. So, here's our C major 9. And then we practice moving those 2 fingers over, and we play our F. Okay, let's put them together. Okay. Now let's try this, right? Start from your G, walk up to that A flat or G sharp, to the A, and then you're gonna take all right, walk one note, so let's put it all together, right? Sorry. I don't know why I keep fumbling that. And then you get here and you're like, well, what do you do now? Well, how do we make that D minor 9, right? So, okay, and then back. And when you're looking in the bass here, all you're playing is a 2, 5, 1, 4. It's a 2, 5, 4, 1 progression. All right, so. Sounds complicated, but it's not, right? And it's something that sounds really fancy, barely doing anything there, right? But when you start to learn that stuff, and here's your minor, or let's say this is your major. You can always take your 3 and 5, and you can always flatten. You can always raise, right? Sometimes you get different colors. That's all we did, right? If you want to look at it like this, here's a G minor 7. Just take the 5 and flatten the 5. Give this nice color, right? So if you ever want to get there, just take a minor chord and flatten the 5. You're gonna get that like every time, right? Right? Here's that E minor. Right? Earlier, again, right? Here, and then I went 2, 5, but instead of doing the 1, that's that minor, flatten it. Right? All you have to do is take any minor chord and flatten the 5, and you're gonna get that sound. It's math, it's a formula, right? So the more you recognize how to do it and what that sounds like, you'll start picking it up in music, and you start going, I know what that is now. Right? I know what that is now and how to create it. I would like to use it too. And it's nice. It's really nice. All right. So and all this is, right? is everything is shifting over a half step. Right? Sorry. And then over to our major, right? So that was the fun, right? And everything didn't go over a half step. So just these two notes, right? These two notes here stayed the same. These just went up. Okay? And then everything shifted over. Alright? So some stuff is, I mean, it is what it is, right? See how dope that sounds? So, this is major. And then right? Because this is that C sharp major 7. This is the octave, right? So, I just start playing down the chord. All I did at that point was I went from major to minor. But you don't figure this out if you don't figure it out, right? You gotta play with it, right? And then when I go to play F here, so some reharm there, but sounds pretty dope, right? Bam. They're like, what? Right? These two notes, just at the bottom, right? That's C and E flat, right? It gets fun. I swear. It gets on your nerves and then it gets fun. It gets fun. Jeez. Well, you know what? I think I kind of cleared the day, didn't I? I was supposed to be, I said I was gonna play. She may or may not be on. I'll check. But let me get out of here. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. I don't have anyone to actually raid. Let's see if we can find somebody. Could we go into, who else do we have here? I don't think anyone's doing anything. Here, hold on. We got a few people, but this guy I think is away. He is not. Let's see. What are you doing, sir? I don't know why it looks like he was saluting me. But I think we're gonna go check this guy out. Y'all hear that? Let's go. You know what? Yeah, come on.
What up, you guys? How you doing, fool? Are you streaming tonight or what?
Let's see. So we're gonna go check him out. Appreciate all of you for stopping by. I'll be on tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, stay patient, remain diligent, and as always, be majestic. If you can develop the skills to keep calm and carry on, you too can achieve greatness. With that, I'm out. Peace.